Hey guys, Hermit here from Photo Insomnia. Welcome to another video, and today we're going to talk about how we can use selective adjustment in Lightroom using the gradient filter. We're going to focus this video on 4 different ways how you can use the gradient filter in Lightroom. This video is on request from one of the viewers. His name is Akash, so thanks Akash if you're watching this video. This one's for you, mate. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and be sure to leave your comments and questions in the video comments down below. So let's get started with this video. So let's apply the gradient filter. I'm going to show you the most easiest and the most common way you apply the gradient filter for selective adjustment. We can see this area at the top of the image is too bright. So I'm going to hold down the shift key so that it's exactly horizontal, the gradient, and I'm going to pull that down here. Now when I do that, it reduces the exposure of the area above, as we can see, and that achieves the effect that we want. So if I unhide the mask, if I unhide the mask, you can see what's happening. It's reducing the exposure of this area and then graduating that transition across to make it nice and smooth. Obviously for the video I've dragged the exposure that low. Normally I wouldn't drag it that low, but for the purpose of the video I'm going to drag it down quite a lot because sometimes it's hard to see the effect on the video. So that's the easiest way to apply a gradient filter. The other way you can edit it is go back to the gradient filter. So I'm going to select this by clicking on the pin, and because it's darkened all this area here, I can use the shadow slider to brighten that back up, so it kind of offsets it back. I don't want this area to be dark, I just wanted the top sky to be dark. So in this case, if I pull back some of these shadows, they start to look the same as what they were before. So you can see that here it does not affect this area as much anymore. So that's another little way you can use the gradient filter. Darken the area that you want and then pull the shadow slider across to make the shadows that have gotten darker, make them brighter. So that's the second way we can use the gradient filter. The other way to enhance this, and if I reset the image, I can go back and apply the same gradient filter down this way. So this is the third way you can use the gradient filter, is you can apply a range mask. And here I'm going to use luminosity or luminance as it's called here, and it's basically allowing us to select a range of brightness that this filter is applied to. This obviously is quite a bright area up here, this is not so much. So if I pull this left little handle across, you should notice that the trees down here don't stay as dark. They start to get some of their brightness back, some of their lightness back. So now it only applies with this range mask the graduated filter or the gradient filter across the brightest areas of the image, which is what we actually want. We want to pull back some of this detail. We don't want this being impacted again. So that's the third way you can use the gradient filter. Now I'm going to show you the fourth way that I use the gradient filter on this image. And this was, no, the buildings are not leaning, they were purposely shot this way. The camera was tilted to get this cool effect. Now in this case what I want is I want the sky to be a little bit more blue. Okay, so I'm going to use the gradient filter again to achieve that result. I'm going to drag this across, and you can see it's adjusting the exposure, so I'll reset that. Just double click on the exposure name or on top of this little knob. So there we go, that resets the exposure. What I want is increase the exposure, increase the saturation, little bit dehaze to make it really blue, rich blue, and maybe pull back some of the highlights to darken it. Okay, but now what's happening is that this saturation, this dehaze is applying here as well on this clock tower, on top of this building, and here. Let's activate the mask to see that it's applying here. So let me just fix this up a little bit. So I want it like this. Here we go. But what I want is the blue to be only affected. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the range mask. I'll use, instead of luminance, I'll use color this time. And when I use color, I can use a color picker to specify where exactly, which color range does this effect apply to. So when I tick that, you see suddenly all of this area where the blues are becomes pink, and none of the other areas are affected by this. This is not affected, the tower is not affected, and the result that we want is the bluer sky is achieved without impacting other elements of the photo. So if you see the before, that's the before, that's the after. Before, after. Now don't worry about the lens correction, that's just the profile thing. But what I wanted to focus on was the fact that you can selectively adjust and alter parts of the image using the gradient filter. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you like this little tip on how to use the gradient filter in Lightroom to do selective adjustments. If you did, give it a thumbs up, leave your comments or thoughts down below in the comment section, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Now, quick update before I go. The Drobo, if you haven't seen the video before from last week, I'll put a link there. The Drobo is working well. I did have a scare last few days in terms of Lightroom. It kind of looked like it was corrupting the photos, either on the Drobo or in Lightroom, but there was a big drama. I think I've worked out how to get around that. The photos are still on Drobo, and I'm processing them directly from the Drobo. It seems to be working fine. So again, over the next few weeks, I'll keep using the Drobo, and I'll share a detailed, thorough insight on how I use this in an upcoming video. Until then, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.